Welcome to Ecn Trade Daily Video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you for joining me. Well, on Monday, we now roll into the fourth consecutive decline as the US dollar increases its strength towards 99.70 after last week's US federal rate decision and also a weaker US ISI manufacturing failed to dent the greenback, and traders still reducing expectations for a rate cut, now closer to 60% from 90 after last week's announcement. Caution dominates ahead of Tuesday's RBA rate decision, where policymakers are expected to hold rates at 3.60 after hotter than expected inflation and slight tight labour conditions. China's manufacturing slowdown and lingering US-China trade uncertainty continues to weigh on the Aussie as well. So as we turn to the technicals, we're still somewhat negative, but the support still holds firmly around 64.90, and any weakness towards 64.30 should find demand. Overall, I'm not going to get too negative, as the fact is that from the bottom side of this range here has found good demand, and I do expect to see it again and eventually see a recovery back to 66 cents. Turning to the euro, which is also somewhat heavy, is now looking closer towards a support level around 114.85 to 114.45. And given the fact there is an ADX there that does support the trend to a slightly bear case, weakness may prevail. Nevertheless, I do feel that the dollar is getting somewhat overextended towards 99.70 to find a cap around 100 and eventually see a correction in these markets. Dollar yen was directionless overnight, and with a cap still holding around 154.45, I'm keeping an eye on this divergence seen from the RSI, which could trigger a bull trap and eventually see a pullback towards the region of 142.90. From there, it needs to be breached to support the further decline towards 150. Sterling also heavy, as we can see the market now still weighing on this level around 131. I'm a little bit cautious here because we are oversold. The ADX is overheating, so we could see a bounce eventually, which would ignite the move on to 132.5 as a potential target. Wrapping up with commodities, the market was a little bit firmer overnight, and I still believe the market may actually progress further to the upside and look towards 4,050 before any supply or profit taking returning. And oil, the market is still holding its ground and therefore could see further gains on towards 62.5 as a potential target this week. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining me, and as always, look out for the intraday report, and I hope you enjoy the great start to the day.